They're young in school and just getting started in the world, and they've got big dreams.
2 students promised trips to help launch careers are now out thousands of dollars. They turned to Shelley Brown to track down answers in an all-new Fox 8 Defenders investigation.
I was very upset and very emotional.
It's been so stressful, like beyond imagining.
Jacob Good, a nursing student from Alabama, and a New Orleans high school junior who we are not identifying because of her age, learned they've got a few things in common.
I was definitely interested in modeling since I was little.
I used to have like a number of people like stop me on the side, street asking, hey, are you like a model or have you ever thought about modeling?
Both had a dream to one day get a shot at modeling. Online, one agency caught their attention.
So I ended up going with Impact Modeling and Talent Agency.
And so did the high school student. The agency, based in New Orleans, claims to represent talent throughout the Southeast region and Los Angeles markets. And it was through this website both students say they submitted talent applications last year.
I was contacted by Carol Sterling.
I was contacted by Carol Sterling.
An Impact Modeling and Talent Agency agreement mentions Carol Sterling as the booking agent, and in emails to talent applicants, she introduced herself as the consultant for Impact.
She very quickly said that I would have like that New York, East Coast look. She said that I would be quickly seen by like H&M and Zara and different big agency companies like that.
She said, oh, you're so cute and you're so pretty and I love your voice and I just can't wait for you to be in my company and sign with me.
For this teen, the first step was a photo shoot at this St. Charles Avenue hotel. Her mother paid First Step Consulting for models and talents $250. But when the student and her mom arrived for the shoot, Sterling wasn't there.
It was just some random guy. I didn't even know if he was a regular photographer or not, with a camera. And he didn't have a name tag or anything. He just said he was here for Carol to take my pictures. He was just like, okay, take the pictures. He wasn't like saying what to do.
Soon, she'd return to the same hotel for a talent workshop. This time, Sterling was there.
Did you get anything out of that workshop?
I just learned how to pose for some photos.
Jacob Good also attended the summer workshop.
Well, she told me that I would need to do the publicity package. She said it was $1,500, and she said it would include me being in magazines. It would include me being on calendars to get sent out to all the big agencies.
As a publicity model, he would be personally introduced to decision makers.
So I asked, like, hey, will I have any future expenses very soon, because I'm a college student and I didn't even have the money myself. Like, I was going to have to ask my parents.
In text messages, Good says Sterling wrote him, "How about I help out and give you all for $1,200. You need clothes." He responded, "I'd be all in." The next day, Sterling texted, "Please Cash App payment to Impact MTA." Good paid the money, and within a few weeks, he and his parents made the 6-hour trip to New Orleans, where he posed for a few pictures in City Park and attended the workshop. He says Sterling laid out basic modeling terminology, talked about what to expect in auditions, and pushed a trip to a Las Vegas gala in December for a book release and model presentation.
She called and she was saying that, hey, I got this discount for you. It's $1,500. It'll be for you, your mom, your dad, hotel, flight, and entrance into the gala. You gotta do this. You gotta do it,
Good then transferred the $1,500. Altogether, he sent $2,700. Meantime, the high school junior transferred $700 to attend the Vegas trip, on top of several $100s she already paid.
She all of a sudden was opening this company called Sterling Faces, and that everybody that was in her last workshop, she selected to be her Sterling Faces.
Before Vegas, Good says Sterling called to say he would need more pictures.
She told me the photographer, and she was like, he's the best photographer in LA, and he's, he can get you the shots that you need. $700 for photo shoot, flight, and hotel.
Good sent Impact MTA $350 that day, and a week later, another $350 directly to Carol Sterling. He's now paid $3,400. Days and weeks go by, and Good says he can't reach Sterling about his flight to L.A. Finally, he gets a text from her. Had to push L.A. until December Las Vegas trip due to just you and Gaines going. Good writes, so L.A. is canceled until Vegas? I get a refund, correct? Both model applicants say after repeated tries to reach Sterling, they could never get an answer on flight information for the Vegas trip. But Sterling did send them confirmation for the hotel rooms.
My mom called the hotel in Vegas that we were supposed to stay at, and they said that Carol had scheduled the trip on the day that she sent us the confirmation, and then 2 hours later she sent the confirmation. She called the hotel back and canceled the trip.
The teen finally reached Sterling by phone.
Carol gave me this whole story about her throwing her book on the ground, saying she quit the book because people were writing bad comments about her on social media.
In a text to Good, Sterling wrote, I agree a full refund for Las Vegas, as I am not sure myself of a solid date in February until book is in hand. That was in November.
I haven't received a thing, nothing.
Again, Jacob Good's out $3,400. The high school student, more than $2,000. He paid for a publicity package he says he never received. Both paid for trips that never happened.
Quite a bit of money. $2,000, $3,000, $4,000. And this last complaint that I actually talked to the consumer said that she put up $15,000 for her son and to get the modeling package, the trips, exposure, everything you could think about, but just nothing came to fruition, not the whole package for sure.
Like the Fox 8 defenders, Cynthia Albert of the Better Business Bureau is aware of more complaints. So I went to several locations Impact Modeling and Talent Agency listed with the Secretary of State's office. First, this office tower in New Orleans East. But a different business occupies the actual suite.
Oh, look, here it is.
In the Marigny, Impact Modeling's listed as one of the tenants in this former firehouse on Mandeville Street.
Hi, I'm trying to reach someone at Impact Talent Agency.
I'm not sure if there's anyone around here.
And in St. John Parish, this home in Edgard is also listed. No one answered. The registered agent for Impact is Randy Lynn McClendon. I finally reached her on the phone, and she explained Carol Sterling is her mother. She also told me Sterling no longer works for Impact as of a few months ago, and said she'd call me back later to answer our questions.
This is not something that I'm accustomed to. This is not something that I want to be. This is horrible.
After several attempts, we finally reached Sterling, who's out of town and stressed. She doesn't have access to client records to answer specifics. She says she's an independent consultant for First Step Consulting Agency for Models and Talent, who's worked with many people in the model and talent industry for years and taken clients on trips for exposure with success in the past.
Obviously, this one was not successful. I'm struggling like everyone else in an economy that through the years probably should have stopped a long time ago, but it's my passion. It's what I do, and I just felt like I needed to move on. Felt like this was something that could happen, and it collapsed in my face.
Sterling says she took on more than she could handle.
So they gave you the money. If you had to cancel because it was just too much, where did that money go? Why can't they get that money back?
Well, I am working to give them their money back. It still went in pursuing the event itself. It went into working with them. It went into everything. This wasn't just a, hey, you pay this and you're just going. I was coming out of pocket as well.
She told me publicity packages were in progress and some trips were pushed to February.
I'm working on every single solitary day trying to get people rectified.
And while hundreds of dollars were transferred to Impact MTA, Sterling insists ultimately she received those funds.
So any money that went through the Impact app, that was then sent to you?
Absolutely.
I knew every time she called she wanted money, and she would say, I need it now.
Both model applicants say they learned a tough lesson.
And the funny thing about it is literally she talked all the way down. I was like, we don't have any more money. And she was like, $1,200, $1,000, $600. She went all the way down to $300.
They say she impacted their families financially and shattered their dreams.
Randy McClendon of Impact Modeling and Talent Agency emailed us a statement just today. She said Carol Sterling was an independent consultant to many beginners in the industry and referred talent that was ready for an agent. She went on to say she has never been an employee. However, that doesn't explain how Sterling got access to all of the model applicants and why initially Impact MTA received payments. If you've got a consumer issue, call the Fox 8 Defenders, staffed with volunteers from the National Council of Jewish Women, or you can fill out our online complaint form.
Shelley, you said more victims. How many more are there out there?
We talked to the two students, the high school student, the college student. We've heard from at least 5 others so far, and we know the Better Business Bureau has heard from complainants as well. So we continue to talk to people and get more information.
I'm sure you'll hear from more after the story, too. Thanks.
All right.
After a Fox 8 Defenders investigation, we are learning of more consumers who say they too spent thousands of dollars hoping to launch modeling careers. Tonight, Shelley Brown sits down with a Jefferson Parish mother who spent a small fortune.
This whole thing is very embarrassing. You know, it's me as a hardworking single mom, you know, trying to provide for the kids and trying to give my children the best, and this is what you do?
Naika Bass of Avondale sounds a lot like the nursing student from Alabama we interviewed, and the New Orleans high school junior, model hopefuls who paid thousands of dollars for a publicity package that never happened and trips that got canceled.
And everybody was like, oh, he's so beautiful.
Interested in getting her infant son, Chase, into modeling, online she found Impact Modeling and Talent Agency based in New Orleans. And like the two students we previously reported on, Bass submitted a talent application.
Carol Sterling, she emailed saying that she wanted to meet my son and us at this hotel on St. Charles.
I was contacted by Carol Sterling.
I was contacted by Carol Sterling.
All three got a response from Carol Sterling.
She was telling me about different commercials that she had and put them on like calendars on a website, just doing some publicity calls, send them out to different name brands like Gap, you know, Oshkosh, Gosh.
It all sounded so exciting. A publicity package laid out in a detailed email, which included a visit to New York City for Fashion Week.
She sold me with New York Fashion Week. I'm like, I've never been to Fashion Week. I want to go to Fashion Week, you know?
So Bass paid what Sterling called her sister company, First Step Consulting for Models and Talent, $2,800 in May of last year. But she says Sterling came back with a proposal to brand her son, meaning more exposure and more money.
She was like, you know, how much you willing to invest, you know, into your son? And I was like, I don't know what you mean. Like, I don't know none of what you mean by invest. Like, I don't know what you mean, what you think, you know. She was like, well, when they explained all the different things that could happen, and she was like, well, if it was my child, I'll do about, you know, $7,000. So that's when I was like, okay.
After paying the initial $2,800, a couple days later, Bass charged more than $7,000 to her credit card. Then, just 2 weeks later, $4,220, quickly adding up to more than $14,000.
The way she talks, she kind of fast talk you, and it's like it's so much information that she put in your head.
Bass and her family did take a trip to LA last summer for a photo shoot. But instead of getting pictures of her baby boy, the photographer only snapped shots of her daughter. Bass really wasn't sure why.
It was supposed to be LA, it's supposed to be New York, it's supposed to be Georgia. It was so many trips.
The next trip was scheduled for September in New York. This email lays out more than 20 people going, the itinerary, including a group photo in Times Square and a fashion show.
She was all excited about that she had so many models in this fashion show. That was the first time ever to even have a baby in a fashion show.
But Bass says out of the blue, Sterling canceled the trip and informed her they'd be going to Las Vegas in December for a gala, model presentation, and a book release that Sterling had been working on. The same trip the Alabama nursing student and New Orleans high school junior paid for.
I kept calling, going straight to voicemail.
Just as the two students told us, the Vegas trip was fast approaching, but she had no trip details, except
she said that my son gonna be on this big old picture that was on the stand in front of everybody, you know, for publicity.
But even at that point, months after she paid Carol Sterling more than $14 grand, Naika Bass says her son never did get a photo shoot. In November, this email to Sterling, "Can you give me a call ASAP? I'm starting to have some concerns." Then, after the dates for the Vegas trip passed, another email in December. "I would like to get a full refund on the package due to service not provided." In a phone interview last week, we asked Sterling what happened.
The trip to Las Vegas, depending on what you're referring to, would have been a book signing that it's yet to be completed, unfortunately.
Sterling said her book's still not finished, and she took on more than she could handle.
I understand each individual, and I have contacted each one of them, perhaps not to the satisfaction of what they would like me to do. I had to literally turn the phone off because it was 100 calls all day long from the same people.
Bass wants a refund for the trips that were promised and the publicity package and photos.
Her daughter did our photo session in Los Angeles. We did not do her photos with her son. So that's the initial person that we were working with, but I saw her daughter, fell in love with her, and said, hey, this kid has potential, and we started moving forward with her as well. But no, they are not complete. It's not something that you shoot the photos and you're done with, no.
All three model hopefuls paid thousands of dollars right away. And for months now, they've waited for refunds but haven't received a thing. We asked Sterling what she plans to do.
They're going to recover and receive everything that was offered to them.
If anybody's pressuring you into giving money, doing it right away, then you know you need to step back a few steps.
Like the Fox 8 defenders, Cynthia Albert says the Better Business Bureaus received several complaints.
You have to be careful about anything like this. You're talking to somebody on the telephone, or even if you would see them in person, you really don't know them that well. You have to do some research on them.
Carol Sterling's daughter, Randy McClendon, runs Impact Modeling and Talent Agency. And when I talked with her for our last report, she told me Sterling was an independent consultant and never an employee. However, she didn't explain how Sterling got access to those model applicants and why Impact received some payments.
After a Fox 8 Defenders investigation, we're learning the number of consumers who say they didn't get what was promised in their pursuit of a modeling career is far-reaching.
Tonight, Shelley Brown looks into whether what we exposed could be a criminal case.
You have documentation and you have a multitude of people, which shows a pattern of behavior.
From Orleans and Jefferson parishes,
I really hoped and dreamed to be a model.
To St. John, St. James, the North Shore, and beyond.
She wanted us to pay for packages.
We've also heard from consumers in Mississippi and Alabama.
I'm from basically Birmingham, Alabama.
In pursuit of a modeling career. Even a mother and daughter all the way in New Jersey called us. All reaching out to the Fox 8 defenders, sharing very similar experiences.
Did you take any trips?
We did not.
Just like the single mother we previously reported on, the college nursing student and this high school junior, Alexis Reynolds, a high school senior from St. James, found Impact Modeling and Talent Agency based in New Orleans and filled out a talent application.
My mom got a call from Carol, and she said that she hand selects certain people, and she helps them get through the modeling industry.
Like the other consumers, Reynolds attended a couple of workshops that consultant Carol Sterling hosted at a New Orleans hotel. She also attended a photo shoot months ago, but says she never received the actual pictures. Reynolds' mother, a law enforcement officer, paid Sterling for a publicity package and trips to get her daughter exposure, but say they never materialized.
The first trip that she talked about was New York, which was Fashion Week, and we all paid money for the plane ticket, the ticket to get in the venue for Fashion Week, and we were supposed to participate in Fashion Week. We were supposed to walk and do all these things, and then leading up to it, it got canceled because of the hurricane. But the hurricane didn't affect New York.
She says other trips to LA and then Las Vegas also got canceled, and repeated attempts asking for a refund went unanswered. When we asked Sterling what happened, she told us she took on more than she could handle.
So they gave you the money. If you had to cancel because it was just too much, where did that money go? Why can't they get that money back?
Well, I am working to give them their money back. It still went in pursuing the event itself. It went into working with them. It went into everything. This wasn't just a, hey, you pay this and you're just going. I was coming out of pocket as well.
Basically, these kind of cases boil down to, did she intentionally tell them something that she knew was not true that enticed them to give her money? And if that can be proven, then I think you have a criminal case.
Fox 8 legal analyst Joe Responti says because this involves much more than just one isolated case, law enforcement may be paying attention.
This woman had an MO. She did the same things again and again to the same types of vulnerable people, and it's going to be easier, I think, to show a pattern of behavior which would eliminate more and more her defense of, well, it just didn't work out.
He says with people spread across different states, it's also possible the feds could get involved.
It's up for the feds to decide, but I mean, they could have what's called interstate commerce as their reason to get involved in this case. So I can envision this possibly being a federal prosecution.
It's been an awful experience that's overshadowed what's supposed to be one of the most exciting times of this high schooler's senior year leading up to graduation.
A lot of people have worse situations than I do and are in a lot bigger bind with a lot of money that Carol has. It's really sad.
While Alexis Reynolds' family estimates they've spent more than $2,600, the college nursing student in Alabama is out $3,400. The high school junior paid more than $2,000, and the single mom more than $14,000. Just a handful of a much larger group who say this has shattered their dreams and impacted them financially.
Carol Sterling's daughter, Randy McClendon, runs Impact Modeling and Talent Agency. And when we talked to her for our first report earlier this month, she told me Sterling was an independent consultant, never an Impact employee. But she didn't explain how Sterling got access to those model applicants and why Impact MTA received some payments. If you've got a consumer issue, call the Fox 8 Defenders, staff with volunteers from the National Council of Jewish Women, the NCJW, or you can also fill out our online complaint form.
So Joe mentioned that this could be a criminal case, but with people impacted really spread out all over, how would that work?
Joe said it is possible, it can be done. He explained if any element of a crime occurs in a parish, that parish can prosecute, and that DA, for example, could bring in others even if they live outside of the parish. So they just have to decide who's going to take charge. And he said it would be easier if home base for Sterling is New Orleans, for it to start in Orleans. But really, any of these parishes can take charge.
Okay. Interesting. Thanks, Shelley.